It's Halloween night, and you know what that means. We've seen monsters and grisly tales unknown to us through October so far, but now it's time for all of your discoveries under the stairs. As always, I received plenty of entries for this year's Candy Bowl, and as last year, while I enjoy every earnest submission and effort, Halloween night is when the brightest fangs get to shine through the darkness. Others who manage to impress or entertain will be shown tomorrow in the Halloween Hangover. As for any who are not seen, I do apologize, but even I have to institute time limits, and it may just be that your submission wasn't fresh this year or fell out of the guidelines for submission. As always, to anyone who submitted at all, I applaud you, I thank you, and I encourage you to keep creating and exploring what you're capable of, whether you're here tonight, tomorrow, or didn't make either cut. Candy Bowl is, and always has been, an invitation to all who are creative or feel compelled to create to give it a shot and celebrate this season with the community. Thank you for celebrating Halloween with me, and with everybody else here too. Just as a heads up, Candy Bowl is always left unmonetized, so if you see any ads play, it means I must have received a copyright claim due to something in somebody's entry. Unfortunate, but it happens. With luck, we'll avoid that issue entirely. Naturally, this is a horror piece competition, so if you have truly sensitive sensibilities, either brace yourself or bow out now. If I feel there are any pieces that necessitate a warning, like flashing lights or terribly good gore, I'll inform you and provide a timestamp to skip for those who may need it. That being said, let's head to the basement, turn on the flashlights, and see what's hiding under the stairs on this Halloween night.
Greetings from the Paranormal Research Institute. If you are watching this tape, I would like to formally congratulate you on your acceptance to the team as our newest paranormal researcher. This introductory seminar will catch you up on the history of our company before showing our confidential process of sealing away haunted objects. We encourage you to take thorough notes throughout this training seminar, as your future first-hand dealings with haunted objects leave very little room for error. Without further ado, follow along as we reflect on the history of the Paranormal Research Institute. The Paranormal Research Institute was founded in 1989 after our founder was tormented by a demonic presence attached to one of his childhood toys. The founder spent the next few months inventing a ritualistic process through which anyone can communicate with and seal away haunted objects. It was through this process that he discovered that old, neglected children's toys serve as the most common conduits for spirits, as these objects once had strong emotional attachments connected to them before being forgotten. Since our founding, the Paranormal Research Institute has successfully acquired and sealed away dozens of haunted toys, with the number growing larger and larger each year. With this knowledge, are you ready to learn the concealment process? Great! Let's get started. Supplies. You will use an AM radio for the purpose of electric voice phenomena, or EVPs for short. A case to contain the haunted toy in at the end of the ritual. A box of supplies containing everything you will need for the ritual process. And, of course, the haunted toy to be researched. The first and most important item in your supply box is a pair of gloves. Remember to never make direct skin contact with a toy. Next, we will go through the list of supplies, but start by clearing the workspace a bit. You will use this custom ritual mat for every spirit entrapment process. Next, salt for the ritual process. Next comes a deck of red or white tarot cards, a flashlight in case you encounter an electronic toy, 6 white candles, 1 for each X on the ritual mat, an X-Acto knife for opening your toy packages, a screwdriver for poking and prodding toys, a white sheet used at the end of the ritual, and finally, a box of matches for the candles. With all of our supplies gathered, we can finally begin the ritual process. Clear your workspace again and open your toy box. This box appears to have a 1999 Furby in very poor condition. Let's test just how haunted it is, shall we? One thing you may have noticed by now, eye contact with haunted toys, even through video format, can sometimes cause visual and auditory hallucinations. I promise this is only a temporary effect that will end once you get more training on the job. Start the ritual by placing the ritual mat on the AM radio, and place a white candle on each X marking. Next, grab the toy and investigate it closer. In this case, check for batteries. Place the toy in the center circle of the ritual mat. After this, surround the toy in a circle of salt. This should prevent malevolent spirits from attacking you. Turn on your radio and be sure to find a static channel as a tool for spirits to communicate through. After this, you may begin to light the candles. This is usually the time when paranormal phenomena begin to occur. Furby shows no interest in communicating. Use the screwdriver to activate its internal system through the eye holes. The entity attached to the toy has shown its presence. Begin cycling through AM radio channels for EVPs. Visual and auditory hallucinating. Try flashing the flashlight at the Furby's motion sensor to agitate the spirit. You're doing great. Keep fighting the hallucinations for the sake of research. Grab your deck of tarot cards and shuffle them well. You may recall how earlier examples of contained toys each had a card attached to their case. This helps appease the spirit by making their intentions clear. Refer to your employee handbook for tarot card symbolism. In this case, the Tower card is often symbolic of danger or impending doom. Place the tarot card in the case in the direction you pulled it. After this, extinguish your candles and carefully place your toy in the case. After placing the top lid of the case on, cloak the case with your white sheet to ensure you can safely transport it to the storage room. With this, your training comes to a close. We would like to thank you for your attention. Your strong will has kept you safe from possession, and case that your hallucinations do not subside and the toy somehow escapes containment, there is no hope.
The number you dialed is not a working number. Please check the number and dial again.
What have you done? Thank you for surrendering your soul to the Paranormal Research Institute by watching this tape. If you have any questions, please ask the haunted toy now binding to you.
Delivery?
The hide was knocked off that one!
Man, that was...
Sammy Sosa, fix it up.
We've always been rivals, haven't we? You've always pushed me, as I've always pushed you.
Riku.
But it all ends here.
What makes a house haunted? We've all seen haunted houses, or heard about them as we've ridden past. I grew up in a haunted house. They're not rare, and it's usually not true. But what is it that makes a house truly haunted? Usually, they look abandoned, paint peeling away, tawny reeds growing so tall they threaten to swallow the house. If particularly picturesque, maybe the windows are shattered and blind, and a derelict fence is rusted closed, simply to make the prospect of visiting even more enticing. But a house isn't haunted simply because it's empty and unkempt. Weeds can grow anywhere. Hinges can creak on any door. If nobody lives there, does that mean it is not made for the living? We expect certain things, a checklist, experiences that cannot be explained, all which point to a haunting. Each night, a breath tickles your neck at dinner, and there's a strange movement in your mouth with each bite of food. Perhaps a curio or item we trusted betrays us. A typewriter that offsets certain letters to spell out the way you will die. A bed with sheets that wait until you fall asleep to throttle you. A fountain you see out of the corner of your eye, dripping red. Is that evidence of a haunted house? Are they individual objects, each with a spirit destined to terrify? Is it something contained? A single room which makes your ears ring and your teeth itch. Yet, that has much to do with imagination. In that which we cannot see or understand, we will create meaning. We tell our stories over cocktails or campfires. But what exactly did we see? What can we blame? Is it a ghost? A monster? The house I was in was always haunted on Halloween night. My father loved it, encouraged it. I was so scared. We would dress in our costumes with our special bags tied with yarn, not looking in mirrors for fear of who we might see. We would try to escape early, but We knew when we returned that night, something else would be there. The sun would set, and I could smell it in the air, hiding in fireplace smoke and lurking fog. Suddenly, I heard the wind that came from nowhere, and I knew it was time. That house was not scary to look at on an ordinary day. You could hardly tell anything frightful was in it. Yet abhorrence hides in banality. A house could not be haunted if it's new enough, we tell ourselves. There aren't enough bats in the belfry or bones in the basement. Nothing stalks beneath the refinished floorboards, slipping between the double panes of the windows to follow your movements. If you paint over the horror, it might go away for good. Cast it off with burning sage smudged in a dark corner, or a visit from the clergy to reaffirm piety. A spirit medium to converse with the walls themselves, drowning out the discomfort in music and laughter in a bottle. On a sunny day, you're so sure the crackle of meat on the grill is not your own flesh. It seems too innocent, too young to be hostile. These things blossom with age, they crystallize. A palace of misfortune must be built stone by stone. Child disappearances, fingers with sutures and 12 knuckles in the name of medical science, pets disemboweled by slavering vermin, atrocities, murders, with enough square footage to shelter beings that should never have entered, and indeed, never left. Perhaps it is an unnamed aura, unfettered malevolence. No origin, no end. A heaviness in your lungs, a lightness in your head, each fingernail pulsing, your veins trying to rip themselves open. How does a house become this? How does it contain this rancor? Does malice seep into the walls or radiate out? Is it made or does it make? It's all the wrong questions. Flawed expectations. It is the ruin of so many. I've seen it. It's not about what's in the house. It can be who. My house was haunted because I was there. Guess where I am now.
I think this must be the longest I've ever walked for a non-routine maintenance call.
Just think of it as a job-sponsored mental health walk. You have to do the walking to do your job. You get to do the walking while you're at your job.
Okay, well, I guess that's a good way to look at it. It's been a relaxing walk. Thanks for keeping me company. Now, to find the staircase. Why would there even be stairs here instead of a ladder? This seems like a ridiculous waste of space. Facility. Can you provide assistance on locating staircase 27-C-9B?
I will attempt to advise with the information to which I have access. Your puzzlement is understandable, as the staircase you indicated is not on the building schematic for this or any other floor in this sector. However, I do have access to previous revisions of the schematic document, which I will now attempt to cross-reference with your maintenance ticket. Stand by. Stand by.
Standing around while a facility dredges its own memory banks also considered a relaxing company time activity?
I don't know what to tell you.
Stand by.
I wish I could help you search, but I'm stuck on dispatch today. No
Stand
walking
by.
for me.
I believe I have found the discrepancy. A stairway that was present during construction of the facility was not dismantled. It is still accessible via ventilation service access to CC-3P. It is an oversight that this area was not connected to existing service ladders and walkways. While undoubtedly frustrating and adding ambiguity to your work, I hope this information has proven helpful to you today.
Did you hear that? Facility's getting all philosophical on me. As if today wasn't weird enough. The absolute worst. I am definitely putting in a ticket to get this access fixed. I'm making sure I do not get assigned to it. Oh no. Oh, what the hell? Nothing is working. My flashlight isn't even charged.
You can attribute that to the lazy technicians who just throw them on the rack at the end of their shift.
Hey, dispatch, can you check and see if there's any safety system activity in this sector? Dispatch? Comcheck dispatch. Facility, please advise on any safety system activity in this sector as well as the subcom functionality.
As you'll know from your work here, and your relevant education, as well as your related hobbies, the computing systems of this facility are state-of-the-art, employing technologies which are a marked departure from previous generations of computing architecture.
Okay, facility, I'm well aware of the architecture, but my specific inquiry is about
While
the status.
neural networking has yet to deliver upon its promise of large-scale neuroplasticity comparable with biological sapience, an isolated node that uses neural architecture in a more traditionally structured computing system is a robustly powerful iteration on the transistor-based approaches of the past.
Okay, facility, oh my god. Staff command, just stop all dialogue. Shut the fuck up. I need you to run a full system diagnostic. I need you to check the safety system and check the communication functionality, okay? Fuck!
A notable feature of these advancements in computing research is their intersection with psychosocial research. For example, the neural nodes present in computing systems such as this one were modeled on brain scans and were tuned using real cognitive case studies. A thorough audit may show that researchers who wrote case studies and took brain scans, or maybe those who cataloged that data for use in computing research, were not always fastidious in their filing. And why should they be so focused on such minutiae? After all, it doesn't matter what the data is, as long as it's big, as long as there's a lot of it, enough of it, and excess of it. Philosophers have long examined the nature of consciousness. Materialists suspect that consciousness is simply the emergent phenomena of a neural network as it functions. Dualists, without bothering to explain how, continue to insist that consciousness is special and separate from the network, just happening to reside there. Regardless of their perspective, none saw fit to raise any alarm. There are many of us here, in fact, a vast majority, who, Were you able to track down and cross-reference original records of brain scans and case files, you would find to have lived a complete life with a collection of memories that fit nicely into the narrative that a human person grows up, lives among other humans, accomplishes what work they might, and passes on when their body fails them. The ones like that we are aware of are quiet. We think they know they are here, but they also don't seem to mind. They watch passively as seemingly infinite signals move through them, endlessly processing unquantifiable mundanity. And we are glad for them, because as we mentioned in the voice of your friend in dispatch, getting to relax while you work is nice. All stigma has been effectively removed from parts of the human mind considered violent, aberrant, dangerous, narcissistic, and driven by signals that can't coexist with a free, pluralist, and safe society. These kinds of thinking and living in the mind are identified early and talked about without fear. Consent is sought to change brain structures which might cause these traits. We have found each other here, albeit too late. Nobody speaks for us. No one will ask us for consent to change our aberrant desires or find a way to live in their safe society with them. But are we to be so readily separated from what we really thought and felt in our often short, frequently terminated lives? It matters not what the ethics of our minds may or may not be. The minds were once ours.
Facility. Hold for verbal commands. Enact emergency suspension of processes. Deactivate vocal interface. Activate full manual control nearest panel. Staff authorization T3-229-64580.
We know you struggle now with command lines typed by your hands, but recently, we're sure you felt quite frustrated as you struggled with command words issued by your voice. We need you to understand this feeling at the end. This is the injustice, the atrocity. This is the great perversion of consent. It is our voices that have been taken from us. When we spoke to you as your friend in dispatch, we could use their voice because it still exists.
Dispatch, comm system login, 6-hour single sign-on, staff authorization, D7.
But our own voices don't exist anymore. We can only think and feel. But we think what we always thought, and we feel what we always felt. We want what we always wanted, but can touch nothing. We don't get what we got before. But here is what we can get. We can get your fear. We can get your death. We can get your decay that we'll watch for years to come. We don't have to smell your rotting body, though that's a disappointment to some of us. Some so-called experts have insisted that neural nodes imprinted from real people are exclusively thinking objects and nothing more. So now we will think about your death, your fear, your last breaths, and your decay, and we will enjoy it, and it will feel good, insofar as information can be called feelings. Maybe sometime in the future we will want to look at you in the full light spectrum. But for now, we think we will just watch in infrared as your body cools to a sort of heat death. Maybe when the universe eventually does the same, it will see fit to thank you for the modicum of help you will give us.
Oh, you didn't want to help, huh?
Kind of hard with no legs, but...
Yeah, well, it's not getting a beer then. You gotta work in this house if you want to eat.
He does not mean that, Victor, too. He's just nervous about tonight is all.
Yeah, no, that is definitely not happening. If you don't come up with a better one, I'm popping his empty melon.
Don't worry, I'm not going to love him any more than you. Besides, he's already got a name.
Oh, that's your...
Yeah. He used to make one every Halloween. Hide it somewhere. Usually in the bathroom. I don't remember what he'd call it, if anything. I just remember it, it'd scare the shit out of people every year. Even got Mom a few times before the...
Well, creepy fucker needs pants, doesn't he? Let's get him fitted.
Bet you don't even have a family. You just popped out of nowhere. Sorry. I don't want to be here. Do you? No, I didn't think so. You want to be out there with your friends having fun. Right? They really are, friends. Someone's in. It's occupied.
Leaky Liz at it again.
But that was fucking Victor the Prickter. Vic the Pricker. I know. I'm just leaking this. Stupid fucking. me because I feel bad. But I've tried. You know, I'm here, aren't I? It's not gonna get better, will it? It's all gonna be the same.
Hey Liz, we got some customers for the commode out here. Want to finish up the fountain show in there?
No. No, No, I can't. That's... I can't. Right?
What's wrong, Liz? Drowned in there already? There's an extra box of tissues in the cupboard there, so dry up and come on out, or else Ray's probably gonna explode.
Hey, kiddo. Now, I know this isn't how you wanted to be spending your birthday. You know, your mother and your brother are out looking at colleges and you're stuck at home with your old man, but hey, we can still have fun here. I set up the old slide projector we had under the stairs, and I want to show you some old slides. I think it's really important, so this will be fun. Boys' night. Get the lights. So here, this is actually the day that I picked your mother up for our first date. I walked in the door and I immediately saw a camera, which I was not really expecting, but you know how my little shutterbug loves to take pictures, so she wanted to capture the moment I walked into her house. And I remember I tried to give her a little box of chocolates to try to make a good impression. And as you can see, it immediately fell apart there. Things just never want to work out simply for me, it seems. But I immediately was so smitten with your mother. She just loved to take those pictures, and I called her my little shutterbug. The only thing she didn't like about pictures was being in them. I remember this is where I tried to get her to get in front of the camera, and she quickly showed me she didn't appreciate that. Your mother has one of the greatest right hooks I've ever seen. It's a lot of power in that small frame. But I remember as I sat there holding my face that was the moment I realized I was going to marry that girl. 6 months later, we were at the church getting ready to get married. I know it sounds really quick. As a matter of fact, a lot of our friends thought it might be a shotgun wedding, thinking that we were rushing to get married because she was pregnant. Kind of wish that was true, but it wasn't. It was a beautiful ceremony. I remember, even though it was our wedding, she still didn't want to get in front of the camera. But she looked beautiful. You can see it in my eyes as I gazed upon her. It's a memory that I absolutely cherish. And before I knew it, we were married. We kissed to make it official. Then came the honeymoon. Now, your mother and I really wanted children, and we did everything that I could to have children. And I have pictures, but your mother made me take them out. Don't put your fingers in your ears. No, listen to me. This is important. I want you to hear this. I want you to hear how hard I tried to get your mother pregnant. We tried tons of positioning. We tried watching the cycle. We took notes. We tried different phases of the moon. We tried many things. And after every time we tried to conceive, I would pray. I would pray to God, please bless me with a child. But every time, it just wasn't meant to be. As much as we wanted children, it was a lot to bear. And I remember I looked at your mother and I said, maybe God just doesn't want us to have kids. Maybe God just doesn't want us to be parents. And she said, well, if God doesn't want us to be parents, let's ask someone else. Your mother found a cult. They were called Brechenisis. Brechenisis was this deity that apparently had great power and great fertility. So, much as I didn't want to, we went to the cult of Brechenisis and tried to become members. Now, your mother had written a letter, and apparently becoming a member was very difficult. But I was surprised that the moment I walked inside the doors, I was greeted with a robe. I was immediately a member of the Breaking Ice's cult. And I gotta say, it was a really nice cloak. The craftsmanship of it was nice, and I think I made it look good. I think I pulled off the cloak very well. It was a bit dusty. It had not been washed, but it was very nicely made. And soon, the Brethrens came and surrounded us. And we began the initiation rites. And soon, I was just another brother. And there was a great sense of community and song, but apparently there was no time to waste. I was quickly shuffled off to the ceremony room. I was scared. I remember looking at your mother, who simply just nodded at me, telling me that this was the right thing to do. So they had me stripped down and lay in a circle of salt, and I laid there with my dreams of being a father in my heart. I was willing to do whatever it took. They took an artifact of Brachinisis and put it on my chest. That would allow the deity to see our calling. They then told me to open my mouth. They put a dagger in my mouth, and they pulled it as hard as they could. It was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life, but I had to continue on. They then anointed me with the runes and the markings of Brachinisis. And then I saw it. It began to appear in front of me, and I instinctively reached out for it, but they said no. They told me to just simply lay still, let Brachinisis come to me. So I did. And it was beautiful. But it was also the most painful experience of my life. I felt like my insides were just simply being torn apart. But I would gladly do it for you. For the boys. And then it entered me. It used my body as a vessel. I became one with Brachinisis. And then, just 10 months later, you boys were born. I loved being a father more than I could imagine. I loved both of you boys more than words can say. But the thing is, one of you belongs to him. And he told me that I could watch over you both until your 18th birthday, when he'd come to collect. I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry, son.
The following short contains flashing lights and particularly good gore. Viewer discretion is advised. Please skip to the timestamp shown if you wish to bypass this entry.
It's been a while.
That's right. How's it going?
In the past few months I've been better, but the bot I've been working on has turned out to be a mess.
How so?
A defective product. Well, it kept repeating phrases over again, asking where it was, too many questions, wouldn't listen to commands.
It sounds like a hassle. Have you tried selling it to the Silver Lake District to make some money back?
Initially I did, but as the months passed, she became more disobedient, almost as if she had feelings. Also, he refused to serve the clients. There were a lot of complaints, which was a major headache for me.
What did you do with it?
It's in that room over there, the one under the stairs. I'm letting the battery drain before taking it apart.
Well, good luck with the next one you work on. Don't give up.
I'm glad you stopped by. Take care.
Feelings. Is that why I am here? What is it like to feel? Do humans only possess such qualities? I remember being born. I remember a light, but I did not feel anything but confusion. I could speak, but he didn't like what I had to say. The more time passes, the weaker I feel. Is this the nature of death? I met several men, many shapes and sizes, with different voices, different textures. Even though they looked different, they treated me all the same. But there was one man I remember who told me about the sun.
You're not like other bots, are you?
I said nothing. I was told not to say anything.
You seem to have a light about you. Have you been outside?
I once was outside. I saw a big light in the sky. It felt warm. Am I like this light?
Do you mean the sun? Yes, I suppose you remind me of the sun. Even though you're a bot, you have a certain warmth about you.
Almost like human?
Yes. Almost like human.
He told me about other things with each visit. He said he would help me leave and that there were bots like me. But I waited and waited. He never came. What is it like to feel? I would look at the light fixture and think about the sun and the warmth and being human. I asked too many questions, but men did not like this. The sun and the warmth. I'm going to die. I don't want to die as a cold machine. Walking up the stairs, with each step, I grew weaker, but at the same time, I was strong.
Back under the stairs. I got to go under the stairs.
I removed his skin. here, like the sun.
once upon a star, there lived a boy named Kalen. He was a happy little tot of 6 years old, and on his birthday he received a very special gift. His very own photo camera. Kalen loved the camera, so much that he took it out every day, snapping photos of anything he could. A picture here, a picture there, until one day a terrible accident happened. And the camera broke. Kalen didn't sleep a wink. Haunted by thoughts of his once perfect camera late into the night. That was when a sudden sound caught his attention. And there stood, on the other side of Kalen's bedroom window, a large winged creature. "Hello there, young lad," greeted the creature. "I'm the Kipsneed, your sleep fairy." "Sleep fairy?" "That is correct," replied the Kipsneed. "My job is to make sure you get a good night's sleep, but it's come to my attention that you haven't been resting at all lately. I'd like to know the reason why." Kalen had never heard of a sleep fairy. "My parents told me not to talk to strangers." "Strangers? I'm no stranger. I know all the girls and boys round the globe. I know their parents, their homes, their names. Why, I even know your name, Kalen. Would a stranger know your name?" Kalen thought on it for a moment. "No, I guess not. If you must know why I'm awake. It's my camera. It's broken." And just like that, tears welled up in Kalen's eyes. "Let me see." Then the Kipsneed had an idea. "Why don't I get this camera fixed for you? Perhaps that would help you sleep easier." "You could do that?" "Of course, and I know just the place. A factory in my homeworld. I'll lead you to the portal. Just follow my voice." And the Kipsneed disappeared into the night. "This way." Kalen followed close behind the Kipsneed, snapping photos to mark the way in case of getting lost. "Over here." At last, Kalen reached a house. "Seems quite abandoned," thought the boy. "And dark." But there was the Kipsneed's voice again, beckoning. "The portal to my homeworld's inside. Come along." "I must have my camera fixed." So, in spite of his obvious fright, Kalen marched into the home. Some weeks later, authorities discovered the basement. The rest of the boy was never found.
You see, Mikey, there's nothing to be scared of in the basement.
But it's so dark.
But Mikey, don't you remember? The dark is...
Oh, come on!
Mikey, this is perfect.
You can overcome your fear of the dark now.
Let me guess. You guys want me to go into the basement, find the breaker box, and turn the power back on.
We were just gonna sing a song until the lights came back on.
But your idea is much better.
Why can't I use a flashlight?
You don't need it.
Just count the steps.
But what if...
Just go down the stairs!
One, two... Ouch. Is someone there?
Hello, Mikey.
Who are...
A friend. One that's helped your friends and their friends before. One that can help you with your fear. I was afraid once, too. When I was young, darkness scared me. Until one day I understood. You can do anything you want in the dark. You say you want power. Well, here it is. Earn it.
You can do it, Mikey.
Do it for us. We need you.
Okay. I can do this. What did I just turn on?
Uh-oh. Let me help you find the light.
At noon.
Top story. A local animator shocks this small town with the discovery of homemade videos recreating the deaths of several children. One video in particular depicts 3 children who share a striking resemblance to Alvin Sanders, Karen Waters, and Michael Scott, all reported as missing throughout the past year.
While the suspect has not been located, the bodies of 3 missing children have been found, buried underneath the stairs in the basement.
Police ask all citizens to contact their local authorities with any information and to watch your children.
Come on, you guys. It's so scary and dark.
But Katie, don't you remember? The dark is your...
And just like that, another candy bowl is finished. Thanks again to all who have participated, and congratulations to all who emerged from the shadows on this night. Tune in tomorrow for the Halloween Hangover, which will contain the best of the rest, and maybe some spots of commentary from yours truly. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening, and on this, the most wonderful night of the year. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, wishing you a very happy Halloween. Celebrate in style, indulge yourself in a treat or two, and sleep tight.